Because sometimes it can ruin a little bit of the shock value when like the main character's like, oh, I'm getting a bad vibe from this guy, and then he like snaps his fingers and like a nuke goes off, and they're like, holy shit, he's strong. It's like, yeah, no shit, he's strong. Like, you see that?
So I learned that reading is hard for me, and yeah.
And I just found out you're supposed to be like level 80 for him, and I'm level 53. So I'm like,
Bruh.
But it's also like, I thought that's where I was supposed to go next.
Kay is my girlfriend, by the way. Kay, I've made Kay.
No, I know.
Every Tuesday. Tell me or send me a video saying it's Tuesday, isn't it? Every single Tuesday, because she's 1/16th British. Yesterday after work, I went to go to Target and Walmart because I wanted to get a clip-on mic. Because yesterday, as of recording this video, was March 10th. And March 10th is
Mario Day.
Mario Day, exactly. And I wanted to record Mario Tennis Aces, but like the swing mode as like, you know, a video. So I got like a clip-on mic because I figured like the microphone I have now probably won't reach like all the way back there.
Wait, you're
so
like
I was
getting like a lav mic? Like...
Yeah, I have one, but it's like one of those cheap ones from Target and stuff. So I got one of those. It's the cable's only like 3 feet long, which I guess works if I'm sitting next to my laptop. But I ended up going to Walmart and finding an 11-foot audio cable, which is neat because I can plug it into my laptop and I can stand all the way back there, and then it would still be able to, you know, reach me without me tripping on anything. So that's pretty neat. But
nice.
I ended up not being able to record that video because I was messing around with my cables, and I was telling Matthew that the HDMI port on my monitor is broken because I don't look when I plug stuff in, so I like just took the thing and I just started poking around in there, and I guess something broke the inside of the port. And it came off onto the HDMI cord. So I took like a little thing and I took the part out, and I was like, well, that's not good because it's, you know, it's part of the HDMI port now. How am I supposed to look at stuff? But I mean, right now it works perfectly fine. I just don't have to touch the monitor. If I don't touch the monitor, it's fine. But the second I do, and the second the cord moves like slightly out of place, the entire screen turns red or green. I don't know.
That's not good. No,
so
next.
Wow,
That's wow.
Next thing I'm getting is a new monitor. I was thinking about getting the HyperX Hypercast microphone because I saw it at Target. I was like, that's a microphone I've been wanting. But instead, I was like, I'll just stick with the clip-on mic. Just head out of here, save some money because gas. Expensive.
I've heard gas prices have like fucking skyrocketed recently.
I'm not sure how the conversion rate is from US to Canadian dollars works, but to give you a point of reference, I remember when my gas 87 was like maybe $2.50, probably lower. And then maybe like in some cases a little bit higher, but no more than $3. And then at one point it went up to like $3, whatever. Fine, sure. And now I think the same gas 87 is at like $4, or depending on wherever you go, like a little bit under $4. So the price is like increased by like what, 1.5 or something, or a little under 1.5. So that's it's like I almost kind of nearly doubled.
Well, our gas is $1.70 something right now.
What? That's like $1 something over here, right? Because isn't the conversion like one US dollar is like 1 point something Canadian dollars?
Maybe. But
because
now
Elden Ring, how much is Elden Ring for you?
$80.
Because I think Elden Ring over here is like 60 or 70.
It'd be $60 over there.
So which means gas over here, or gas for you guys would be like $1 over here, which is insane.
Okay, well then
so like,
now I'm like, what? Because I've heard all this stuff about gas price going up. My mom, my brother were talking about how expensive gas is now. And I'm like, what?
So expensive.
I know things...
Is it expensive over there too? I guess it's a worldwide problem because everyone uses gas nowadays.
But I don't know. I know things have gone up. Like a 2-liter bottle of soda used to be like $1.50, and now, and my mom bought one the other day, and it was like $4.
What the heck? Yeah, no,
like,
gas. Prices are going up everywhere because I work at a bubble tea shop, and the other day, I guess the first day of the week that I came in to work this week, my boss had me change the prices of some of the drinks on our menu. I mean, they were already updated because we had gotten a new menu with all the updated prices, but he wanted me to update the prices through like all the delivery apps, so like Uber, and so forth. Mm-hmm. So, the drinks, like, when you're ordering stuff through delivery, like Uber Eats and stuff, it's gonna be a little bit more expensive. They price up because of like all the fees they take out.
Oh, yeah.
Because Uber takes out a percentage of what you make, so of course you price up, and then so forth. And it's crazy because when people buy 2 drinks through Uber Eats, the total comes out to almost $20. That's like almost $10 a drink. And that's like before we priced up.
Well, it's better be some good drinks.
Yeah, and normally when you buy 2 drinks like in store, it's maybe not even more than $14. It's like some of the cheaper ones go to like 10 or 12. And then if you get like additional toppings, like extra stuff, it'll probably go up to like 14 or 13. But $20 for 2 drinks through Uber Eats for not even like throwing in extra stuff, that's insane. That just shows like how high like prices have gotten these days.
I remember hearing stuff during the start of the pandemic about like a lot of small restaurants having to like depend on like Uber Eats and DoorDash and stuff like that, but they like jacked up the prices on a lot of stuff because it's like like a monopoly almost, because it's like, well, you have to go through us because most of it's COVID, no one's going out to get food, everyone's ordering in, so it's like hey, you have to go through us, so we control your income now. And I heard a lot of people talking about how I remember seeing a lot of articles about how people like, they're like, well, my hands are tied, I have to pay these guys, but also they're charging so much of my revenue. So it's like, I don't know. It's a little unfortunate.
We talk about monopolizing it. You're not like, technically you're not supposed to have like a monopoly. Like there was a whole, was it like an oil thing? Like monopolizing all the oil or whatever? Like way back when. And then now you see stuff like, you were telling me that like Funimation and some other company was merging with Crunchyroll. And I'm like, that's almost like becoming a monopoly.
It is definitely a little bit with anime right now. Because I had Funimation because I watch dubs. So I paid for Funimation because I was like, that's what I heard had all the dubs. Because I thought Crunchyroll had none. Which isn't true even before the Funimation thing. But anyway, and then Funimation had their whole thing go through where it was Funimation and like Waka Anime or something like that. I don't know what it is, but it was another company. And basically everything's merging together with Crunchyroll. So, and it was like, they were like Funimation's like encouraging you to go get a Crunchyroll subscription now. Because it's like, I've heard
That's
stuff.
so weird.
But I've heard stuff. I've heard stuff that, like after like in the next like month or two, Funimation is not even going to be adding any shows anymore, and it's going to be like an archive. So I'm like, what? So I don't know 100% what's going on. I just know for me personally, I got a Crunchyroll subscription. It's also cheaper, which was like Crunchyroll is cheaper. So I'm like, my God, why was I even using Funimation? It's missing a few things that Funimation had, like Stars Align. You were telling me about, and I went to look that up, and that's not on Crunchyroll, at least yet. But yeah, so far I like Crunchyroll. It works a lot smoother than Funimation, because Funimation had these weird hiccups, and Crunchyroll will like stutter every once in a while. But like Funimation, when it would buffer, it would like buffer for like 20 seconds. The show would then jump ahead 20 seconds. So it was like little hiccups, and then the show would just keep playing. So what I got in the habit of doing is backing up 10 seconds and going forward 10 seconds, and then usually I'd be fine. But that would happen like 5 to 6 times an episode. And when an episode
sounds like it would get annoying.
When an episode's only 20 minutes long, it was definitely like, holy fuck, I just want to watch the episode. And Crunchyroll, I've been pretty much okay with. I haven't really had. I've had a couple of like stutters here and there, but when it buffers, it freezes. So I'm fine with it buffering, and then 5 seconds later, the show keeps playing from where it buffered from. Like that's fine. But anyway, so far I've only watched Shield Hero, and I'm watching Origami now.
Shield Hero comes out in like less than a month, doesn't it?
Season
April
2
6th.
Yeah, season 2 starts April 6th, which I'm quite excited for, because season 1 was really, really good. I really like being able to read comments on Crunchyroll to see what everyone else is talking about. So it was pretty funny seeing everyone else be like, it was just interesting to see everyone's reaction to it. But what's interesting is that like all the comments there was everyone being like, yeah, this show is fucking amazing, and like, oh, that part was awesome. And then everything on Twitter, everyone's like, this show is the worst fucking thing I've ever seen. And I'm like, wow.
Twitter's another world.
Like, quite the disparity. Personally, I really, really like Shield Hero. I gave it a 9. I'm only through season 1, obviously. Well, that's all that's out. Never mind. But I haven't read the manga or anything, and I'm gonna hold off just because season 2 is starting soon. So I'm like, I don't know. I really, really like the show though. I don't really want to spoil much, and that's tough to do because a lot of what happens in episode 1 is like a huge deal. But the main character is like one of my favorite anime protagonists now. He's really solid. At first I was like, oh, maybe I like this show so much because I like superheroes, but it's like, it's called Shield Hero, but they're not superheroes. They're supposed to be heroes, because it's based on like the idea is that it's like, without spoiling anything, basically Shield Hero is about these 4 normal kids. Well, not kids. It's like 4 normal dudes basically. There's one guy that's 16, and then the oldest is 21. So anyway, so there's the spear hero, the bow hero, the sword hero, and the shield hero. So it's just 4 of these guys that just got pulled into this world, and then they're given each a legendary weapon. And the idea is they're supposed to protect this world from these waves of calamity. So I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. But like the main character now for me had like a really, really good arc. And it's like just watching the show. It was, I don't know. I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil stuff, especially because season 2 is starting up. If this show was done, I don't think I'd care as much. But it's really, really solid. It's almost what like SAO. I feel like it's kind of everything I wanted from SAO to an extent. Like I think SAO could have been better, but it's like I've never watched because SAO is the only other. Is it isekai? Is that what the genre is?
Where they go to another world type of thing.
So it's like I've only watched a couple, but Shield Hero is definitely my favorite one. But I don't know. I was a little nervous because Shield Hero's or Naofumi's arc through the season 1 was incredible. He's the main character, by the way. He's the Shield Hero. His arc through season 1 was like really, really solid. And so I was like, like the ending of season 1 was actually like, it like felt like a really good ending. Not like a permanent ending, but like a good stopping point. So I was like, as soon as I finished the show, I was like, wow, that was incredible. But then I was like, well, season 2 is starting soon. And I'm like, I'm a little nervous to see what they can do with season 2, because I'm like, I really liked his arc through that, but they can't just do the same thing because it wouldn't make any sense. So it's like, but I've everything I've read season 2 is. Like season 1 is apparently the slowest of the entire story. So
Oh wow.
I'm excited to see where it goes because I really liked it.
When I think of shows that have a season 2 coming up that had a phenomenal season 1, I think back to The Promised Neverland.
Oh.
where I had finished season 1. It was amazing, right? And then, you know, the release date for season 2 and all like the promotional material came out on Twitter and stuff. And I was super excited and stuff. And then the show came around and I was disappointed. So I hope, I mean, at least for you, because I'm not sure if I'll be watching it soon, but Rising Shield Hero does sound like something I'd watch because like I do like RPG type stuff.
Yeah, no, I definitely recommend it.
But yeah, I hope for everyone who likes the Rising of the Shield Hero, hope that season 2 goes well and that it doesn't turn into a bad crap show.
Yeah, cut like, to a month from now and I'm like, that was trash. No, but
they pulled like the whole slideshow thing that that was
the
terrible.
Thing is that, like I was thinking about this just now. I watched Promised Neverland February of last year. So it's been a little over a year since I watched Promised Neverland. And I still haven't seen season 2.
I think it came out like 2-3 months ago.
Season 2.
Wow, really? A year? Was it 2-3 months ago or a year? And
what?
Season 2 of Promised Neverland?
I think that came out March.
That came out like a year ago, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way it was 2 months ago.
No, it's been out for a while.
Yeah, it's been out for a while, but it's still pretty terrible. Season 2.
Because I've read the manga,
anime,
but I've read the manga, and I just I don't know. Part of me wants to keep my innocence. I don't want to go watch season 2 because I'm like, Promised Neverland right now. I'm like, oh, this series is incredible. I don't want to now go watch season 2 and be like, wow, that was the worst thing I've ever seen.
Kind of makes me want to rewatch season 1 just so I can,
It was weird.
Get the good vibes back.
Yeah, I might have talked about this, but it was weird because I read the manga start to finish. And it was weird because like season 1 took me like 6 hours to get through, and then reading through season 1 took me like an hour. So it was really weird to like just how much faster getting through manga is. But it's also, you can go at your own pace. But I definitely think it lacks. There's definitely some like emotional stakes because like when a character dies in a manga, it's usually like I can breeze right past everyone's expressions. Like, okay, I get the picture, moving on. But when it's animated, I guess I could technically skip
It's more
ahead.
dramatic, yeah.
Yeah, it's way more. There's music, there's voice acting. It's like there's a lot more to it. And when I'm just sitting on my bed, looking at my phone, but yeah,
the dramatic music is just your dog barking.
Yeah. Another thing about Shield Hero is because I've talked about it at this point that I don't like fan service. Shield Hero was really weird with fan service because there was stuff in there that was like, okay, this could be kind of fan servicey, but I'm like, it didn't feel like fan service to me because like when I think of that, I think it really is focusing up on the, like My Dress Up Darling had a lot of fan service. That was very like, there was plenty of scenes in that it was like, all right, this is definitely like, this is really doing it for someone out there. But Shield Hero, it was like, there was a couple things. There was a couple like shots of like girls' chest, and it was like, but that wasn't the focus, I guess. It's really hard to explain without spoiling anything.
Just threw it in.
Well, no, that's the thing. It was just kind of like, it's like, all right, we have to do something here, and it's like, all right, well, that's still weird because they really animated those things bouncing around. It's like that's not really the point of the scene. But yeah, so overall the fan service was like pretty reeled in for the most part. It didn't feel like anything like SAO or anything like that. So that's
speaking of RPG shows. I was telling Matthew I recently got sorry, I recently rewatched or are rewatching this show called The King's Avatar. It's a live action, not really live action. It's just there's real people. There's no animated characters.
That'd be live action.
Yeah, but it's not really a live action. Oh, I guess it is based off of like a web comic, I think. So yeah, it is a live action.
Oh, it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's a Chinese drama, based on this guy who was a former leader of one of the very best esports team for this game. They had some decline or whatever, and like some struggles in like the last bit of this guy's reign or whatever. But he got, I guess, in a sense, he got fired because he was being replaced by some new talent. And so what this guy does is he goes and works for like an internet cafe, and then over time, like throughout the series, he's like picking up people for like his new esports team, because there's in that series the rule is a professional player who retires, because he said he retired, won't be able to return to the professional scene for another year. So in that year time span, he's making friends, they're introducing new characters, he's picking up new members of his team. And like they're all kind of like, each of the characters that he puts on his new esports team has like a some sort of personal problem. Like one of them's like really bad at the game, so she ends up being like their manager. Another person, like she like doesn't really recognize her, like when she's lost. Like her introduction was like, she's at a piano recital competition, and then she's doing really well, and then she like stops for some reason, and then she's like, oh, I'm not gonna accept this defeat, so she just gets up and leaves. So she plays the game because she wants to win and be competitive. And then there's another character who also has left another professional team because he was just not as good, and then joins this new team. So there's a lot of characters with some personal, like, not problems, but like they have their own problems and reasons to join this team. And it's cool because they're not like at the professional level, but they kind of learn to work together as a team to play professionally. So the whole thing is like, he's trying to get revenge on like, their old esports. Really, it's like the management. But like the whole thing is, it's kind of cute. Some of the scenes, there's some romantic parts because like before the guy got kicked off his old team, he had like a partner who they were teammates for like 10 years on that team, and so they're like super best friends. And then one of the scenes one of the scenes is like, oh hey, I'm just picking up snacks for like our next like away from home type of tournament type thing. And he's like, yeah, about that, I'm actually not on the team anymore. And she's like, wait, what? And then he like, like the revolving doors, you can stop it with like the button. So he leaves, and then she's like, why aren't you coming in? To like they have like not like an apartment, but like they live at their esports type home thing. And so she's like, oh, why aren't you coming in? And then he's like, oh, because I'm actually leaving the team and I'm not going to come back and stuff. And then she's like trying to chase after him, and he presses the button, and then she's like, no. And then he's like, I'm sorry. So yeah, there's some like romantic moments. There's no like kissing or anything, but it's just cute to see that kind of
no kissing
nonsense.
Damn it.
Yeah, it's not like that kind of stuff. But yeah, the show's it's pretty solid. I like it. It's not like the best show of all time.
It sounds a lot.
But it shows esports in a different light.
Yeah, it sounds like have you ever heard of VGHS, Video Game High School? It's
yeah, I have.
It's a YouTube show. I've watched that show like 10 times through now. But yeah, it was just made by Rocket Jump, and it's a really good show. That's about an FPS though, not an RPG game, but there is some of those elements. But yeah, no, that just you talking about that, it kind of reminds me of that. I actually rewatched through that show again, like last summer. So VGHS, great show. But
There's a lot of shows I have to catch up on.
This show sounds pretty cool. The King's Avatar, you said? Like
it's a pretty long series though. I think episodes wise it's like 50 something episodes, and each episode it's not like 23 minutes. It's like they're like 40 something minutes long each. So I was, it's quite a binge, but yeah, the story could get kind of boring sometimes, but I mean that's with like a lot of dramas. But yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. Like filler episodes, you mean, or
not really filler, just like some moments where like the story is being told kind of slowly, and I just wish they'd get to the point and whatever. But for the most part, it's still pretty solid. It's a nice breath of fresh air from watching anime and I've been watching Naruto too. It's nice to just like get away from all the I think you were talking about this, you had said this when we were talking about what's that League of Legends show?
Arcane.
That has Arcane, yeah. So you were saying how that show has a lot of show don't tell type of elements, and I think the King's Avatar, it kind of has the same thing. It's not like an anime where all they do is tell, and they just like they're like, oh, this enemy is super strong, I'm not sure how I can do this. I have to block this attack in like a fraction of a second. Like, whereas that whole monologue took like 10 minutes. But yeah, it doesn't have any of those like thinking elements. They kind of just do it because it's an esports thing, so everything happens kind of fast paced.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Going off of that, I just there's definitely some moments like that in some of the shows I've been watching recently, like Shield Hero and Origami. I was watching Origami this morning, but it's like there is a lot of those where it's like they're thinking, and it's like in Noragami there's a scene where like bullets are flying at this guy, and he's like, oh man, I don't know if I can dodge this one, and it's like, what? And like in Shield Hero there's a moment where it's like they where it's like something's flying at him really fast, and it's like, oh, I have to block this, and it's like he's like going through all this thinking, and I'm like, are these guys thinking in light speed? Because it's like in the animation you can see his shield like slowly moving in front of the target and him, and it's like things flying at him, and it's like he's thinking, it's like, oh, if I don't block this in time, and it's like, what? I don't know, it's like you don't need to go through all that. Sometimes it can be kind of hype when it's like they're describing how tough this enemy is. I definitely prefer though show don't tell, because it's like, I don't know, seeing when an enemy does something like absolute batshit crazy stuff. Because sometimes it can ruin a little bit of the shock value when like the main character's like, oh, I'm getting a bad vibe from this guy, and then he like snaps his fingers and like a nuke goes off, and they're like, holy shit, he's strong. It's like, yeah, no shit, he's strong. Like you see that? So I'm like, sometimes it's like that. Yeah, that's not necessary. I
imagine Attack on Titan doesn't have like they show more than they tell, because all the Titans do is just destroy. They don't really think, right?
Yeah, I guess they don't really do that much thinking.
They just people are just talking, all of a sudden a Titan pops up, boom, you're dead.
I will say,
Titan's not like, I think I'm gonna kill this guy before they go for my neck, boom.
Yeah, like well, I guess sometimes never mind. But Noragami, something that I just thought about with that whole talking thing is when this happens with like every new anime, they have to explain what the hell's going on, so because they have to like set up the world. And so what I don't get was, okay, I'm gonna spoil Noragami just a tiny bit, but the whole idea of the show, I didn't know this going into it. I thought it was like a bunch of high schoolers. But the whole idea, it's about like spirits and stuff, and the main character Yato is like this ancient god of war. But he's just like stayed the same age for like 1,000 years or some shit. And anyway, so he's a god, and then he meets this girl who saves him, and then she almost dies in the process. So she's like halfway between dead and being alive. So she wanders around as a spirit kind of thing, but she can still be in her body. But every once in a while, she'll just like pass out, and then she's walking around as a spirit. And then when she is a spirit, she's like pretty good at fighting. But for some reason, they had a thing where she bounces out of her body and she's wandering around. She's seeing all these other all these evil spirits around, and then she starts talking out loud. And she's like, "Yeah, I remember Yato telling me about these things." And then she just explains what they are. And I'm like, so why not just show the scene where Yato's explaining it to her? That makes sense. Her suddenly rethinking it out loud. I'm like, it just makes more sense for just show the scene when he's explaining it to her, because again, that makes sense. That's what a lot of new shows do to explain shit, is you just have some other character explain it, because usually the main character, when they're being introduced to stuff, they know as much as the audience does in that moment. So sometimes you have to reveal stuff in a different way, and it's but I should know, now I'm thinking about it, 9 times out of 10 most anime have a new character that has no idea what's going on, and then you have an experienced character that's explaining everything, but you're also explaining it indirectly to the audience. It just makes sense in a world because this character doesn't know what's going on. So anyway, it was just a small thing. I just remember watching it and I was like, why is she just suddenly oh yeah, I remember him telling me about this. It's all right, who are you talking to? So anyway, but that show
that popped up into my head. Sorry, was Haikyuu, because I was thinking about all the moments where the characters are they're thinking about shots. I say shots, shots that other players have hit. They're thinking about those types of shots that other players have hit that they've went up against before, and they're like, yeah, I can try to apply that into here. And then so it's they'll flash back to when they're playing against a different team, and then they see something familiar, and they end up using that. And I like that. I like that. Going back off of what you said, where they're not just oh, I remember what this character did or what this character said. They just immediately go back into the flashback when they were going against the other team, and so that's pretty neat. Man, I wonder when the next season of Haikyuu is coming out, because I don't even know. So I think I kind of got off, or not got off, but ended not badly, but Haikyuu's 4th season didn't really appeal to me as much as the 3rd season did. Probably because I wasn't really paying attention to it as much, but also at that point it should be good enough for me to pay attention to it, you know what I mean? But I just didn't feel that season was as strong for me as season 3, where they're going up against the strongest school in the prefecture. And, they really built that up for two seasons, and then suddenly for the 4th season, they're oh yeah, there are these twins that are super good and stuff, and then they go to a training camp, or one of the characters goes to a training camp and then sees the twins in action.
Yeah. So
I guess all the hype for going against that one school in season 3 was it worked out better because there was more build up. It worked out better than just season 4 stuff put together.
That is a problem with a lot of shows. Is it's I'll use Marvel as an example, because I think it's the best one I can come up with. But they have a problem of so at this point they've done Endgame, which, spoiler alert, but Endgame was fate of the universe is at stake here. So it's you can only one up yourself so many times, because it's so when you do the fate of the universe is at stake, it's really hard to go back to the fate of the city, the city's in trouble. Oh no.
Yeah,
because it's when the last movie they were fighting cosmic beings, and now in this movie they're fighting some guy. So it's really hard to one up yourself, and then it's because now, especially with build up, I don't want to talk about it too much because it's hard to without spoiling it, but My Hero Academia right now is doing a little bit of that, and it's really bugging me. I was gonna call you and I was like, motherfucker, it's because I read the new chapter. But overall. So I'm like, I don't know. It's just tough. Like when you're storytelling and you build up to that point, and then it's like, it's why I like shows that go in and they have an ending in mind, from the get go. Like Avatar, they went into that show knowing we're going to do 3 seasons and that's it. So they were able to tell everything they wanted to tell in those 3 seasons, no more, no less, and it was perfectly fine. There's a lot of shows that like My Hero Academia, that show, or that was supposed to end like a year or two ago, but it was just so popular that it just kept going. And now it's back to wrapping up. But also the latest volume that just sold is like one of the best selling manga volumes like ever. So now I'm like, all right, wow. I could potentially see My Hero, like it suddenly be like, hey, guess what? My Hero Academia is actually going to continue for a lot longer, which I wouldn't necessarily be that upset about. But I'm like, the way stuff has been going, I would be, because now I'm just like, I hate to say it, but now I'm just like, I just want My Hero Academia to end now, because I'm like, like
just pull the plug.
Yeah, just like, man, I know there's some people that are like, no, this is really great, guys. But like the general consensus right now for My Hero Academia is just kind of like, it's all right, I guess. They fumbled a lot of stuff. So I'm still excited about season 6 though. I will say that season 6 is.
Do you hear that from my side? There's today is Friday, which means it's garbage collecting day. So the guy is going through my street right now. Yeah.
I thought that was me.
No. So if you hear some stuff, it's just them taking out my trash. But yeah, speaking of Marvel, yesterday I was actually watching I don't know which Iron Man movie it was, but it was one of them where which one? Wait, what?
What happens in it? I'll be able to tell you.
I started watching with my boss in the middle of the movie, but I remember Tony Stark, he got into like this NASCAR race or something.
Oh, Iron Man 2, easy.
Iron Man 2, yeah. And then, there are all these like there's this Russian guy and like his dad, and then Tony's dad. Wow, I should have said spoiler alert. I mean, the movie must be pretty old by now.
Iron Man 2 is like 10 years old.
Okay. What could have been spoilers for me? Anyways, so they're like, building. I guess the guy wanted to build drones. I didn't even get to finish the movie because I had to leave. But the Russian guy, he's, he saw the suits or whatever. And then he was like, okay, I can make it better. I can make you whatever, win over the Pentagon, whatever he said.
Yeah.
And then the hammer guy comes back. He's like, well, what did you do? And he's like turned everything into a drone. Or he turned
I can't fit my head in there. Can you fit your head in there? No.
Can you fit? And he like tries. I'm like, what is this movie?
Yeah, Iron Man 2 is it's considered one of the worst Marvel movies.
Oh no.
But it's just so goofy. I love it. Whiplash is a great character. He's the Russian guy in the NASCAR thing. He like slices the car in half with the electric whips. It has one of my favorite suit up scenes. Iron Man suits at towards Endgame and stuff. It just like materializes over him. But in that he has like the suitcase. I don't know if you saw that scene.
Yeah.
And he does all that stuff. Like that was fucking cool. That's one of my favorite Iron Man suit ups.
So and then Scarlett Johansson popped up, and she was just like a secretary or whatever. I was like, wait, isn't she supposed to be like, what, the Black Widow or something later? And then I was like, did they do that on accident? Did they like cast her in as like a secretary and then later throw her into Black Widow? But then, she, it was later revealed she was working for like a agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. for Nick Fury or whatever. I was like, oh, okay, I see. They didn't make that huge mistake. My boss was like, when he saw the secretary, like Scarlett Johansson, he was like, isn't she like a movie star? And I was like, yeah. He's like Black Widow, but now she's like a secretary or whatever.
Yeah, I love all the Marvel movies. Iron Man 2, I still really like. I know everyone thinks it's stupid. Well, Thor: The Dark World is actually considered the worst one. Iron Man 2 is just considered amongst the worst. But I don't know.
I saw the scene where like is he like the military guy? I don't know. He got into one of Iron Man's suits and then he started fighting Iron Man.
Oh yeah, that's his best friend. That's Rhodey.
Oh, I see. War Machine. They started fighting each other.
War Machine on the shelf right there. You can't see that, but he's right there. War Machine's on
Is it
that shelf.
next to? Is that Thor? Next to Thor?
Yes.
Guy with red cape. Okay, could barely see that.
Iron Man's to the left of him, but that's. Anyway,
Speaking of stuff on our shelves, I don't have anything worth pointing out, but I ordered some cards off of it's a place where I get all my trading cards, TCG Player. The website pretty much is a place. It's like eBay for cards. You can list yourself as like a seller, list some cards, whatever you have to sell, and then you mail them to that person. So I ordered a lot of Dragon Maid cards. Because guess what my favorite archetype in Master Duel is?
Dragon Maid?
Dragon Maid. Yeah. So I played a lot of Dragon Maid stuff in Season 1 and Season 2, and still Season 3, and I've yet to use... Well, I say yet, but we'll get into that later. I haven't used a different deck for that account. Because I just like them so much, and when I do try to use a different deck, and I was telling Matthew this the other day, I was like, when I try to use a different deck, it feels like I can't win anymore. It's definitely harder for me to use something other than Dragon Maids, because I use them so much. But recently, I've built a few more decks. They both looked pretty cool. One was like sort of zombie thing with like, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but he can like banish stuff. He can banish something and then also negate something each turn. So I'm like, that's pretty cool. And he can revive himself if there's like zombie world on the field. So that's cool as well. It's just I don't know how to properly play it, so it's not like too great. And for that deck, I probably wouldn't bring it into rank just yet. But then I also have Ancient Warriors. I've built Ancient Warriors, and so has Matthew. Matthew's also built. We built it at like the exact same time, I think. Except I went with like the Ancient Warriors Tri-Brigade build. It's solid like 70% of the time. The other 30%, it's pretty much playing with Tri-Brigades now, except worse because I don't have like Zodiac cards to go into for my extra deck or whatever.
I think it's just kind of just like the problem with mixing two decks, because either it'll end up you'll be missing parts from either one, because like Ancient Warrior cards, they only work well with
other
like,
Ancient Warrior cards,
because it's like when you activate like Rebellious's effect, no one else's effect can go off.
Yeah, that kind of screwed me over the other day, because I was trying to destroy your monster, but I was like, oh, I can't do that because I did Tri-Brigade stuff this turn.
Yeah.
So I learned that reading is hard for me, and yeah.
And there was also you took my Rebellious and then activated Boral Savage Dragon, I think it was, and it didn't work.
Yeah, that too. I don't know. I just wanted to take your monster because that was cool. The fact that there's a monster that like changes control based on like who has a stronger monster on the field at the end of the turn. That's still
Rebellious
cool.
Is scary. He's a traitor, man. he's like I'm the strongest, so I'm staying on this team. Oh, they have a stronger monster later, nerd.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, to be able to steal your monster is one thing, but then like I guess being able to use your monster then after would be pretty hard.
If they have Ancient Warrior cards, then that could be pretty scary. Because
that would be very scary.
Here's my strong monster. But my only complaint with Ancient Warriors is that I have not built it right. I desperately need another Rebellious, because I find I'm able to get him real easily, and then people get rid of him real easily, and then I'm like, well, shit, because as soon as he's in the graveyard, unless I have Monster Reborn, he's not coming back. So I might need to add another one to him.
I was thinking we could do like a 6 Samurai versus Ancient Warriors type.
Yeah,
battle.
I'll try 6 Samurai.
Because it's like they're Chinese inspired warriors versus samurai versus Japanese warriors.
Yeah,
so I thought I figured you would maybe build Ancient Warriors, because I was like, this aesthetic, they're not samurai, but they're pretty close.
Not samurai, but
they're still. Their art kind of cool.
Yeah, no. Rebellious's art is pretty sick. He reminds me of Sun Saga. but
yeah,
the
little
red
bit.
horse.
They got a horse. Yeah.
The only thing
got
that sucks
the horses in the back.
is that Ancient Warriors doesn't have a cool summon effect when you summon out Rebellious. I really feel like he should have one. Like,
yeah, they gave it to the Link monster instead. I think, which I guess it's okay.
but like Shien
But
has
also
one,
Rebellious
and,
looks cooler.
and Shogun Shien has one. So I'm like,
Oh, they both have one? Oh, wow.
yeah, no, Six Samurai or like Shien, the Synchro Monster, and Great Shogun Shien has a effect when you summon them.
Wow.
So most of my monsters do, like Isolde and stuff. So most of them go. I honestly don't see Six Samurai beating Ancient Warriors unless I have some absolute crazy bull crap.
I don't know. Because Gateway of the Six is limited to one. Apparently, but I wouldn't say apparently, but like someone made a comment like if Gateway of the Six was unlimited, so like at 3, then it'd be like a tier 0 deck. Not even tier 1, just tier 0. It's so good that, just can't be beaten.
Oh, tiers. Yeah, because the thing is, like, I actually fought a number 86 deck yesterday with Ancient Warriors, and I was so mad. I was so salty. I was like, all right, this is why I don't play number 86, because it's just no fun. Because it's like with Six Samurai, because that was the reason why I upgraded Six Samurai, because I saw someone playing with number 86, and then I had number 86, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. But then I was like, well, I don't know. It's a lot of setup, and then once you finally get there, they can't do anything. So I'm like, I don't know. I want to play at least a little bit fair. Like, I'm not going to give them the game, but it's also just like, you can't do anything. Fuck you. But that guy, he had number 86, and he had like 10 cards attached to it. So it wasn't even like
Bruh.
I was able to like stall him. I had enough cards that I could stall him for a little bit, but he could like destroy all of my entire field like 4 times in a row. And I was like, man, fuck this guy. And then he got low enough so I could finally summon stuff. But then he did the bull crap with no, because I was like, okay, he detached the card. I can do something. And I was able to summon out some stuff. And then he did the number 3, or number 38, whatever it is. He did that crap again, and then just attached another like 7 material to it. And I was like, what the fuck ever? Like, and I was just sat there. I was just like, man, like this is not fun to play against. So it's like it's really tough because I'm like I've been running into it like Ancient Warriors like pops off. I've been winning pretty often with them. But
yeah,
the
same.
thing is like every time I build up and I'm like doing really good, I suddenly run into like Herald of Ultimateness or like number 86, or like they happen to have 1800 hand traps, or like I always just run into the like just as I'm about to rank up, I run into the most ridiculous nonsense. And then I'm like, all right, well, I guess that's game. So,
I guess if you want to start an argument, this might not even be an argument because you might even agree with me, but like playing those kinds of decks is like, are you really playing the game, or are you just playing to win? I mean, obviously everyone wants to win,
that's the thing.
but are you playing that deck because it's fun?
Well, because that's
or are you playing it just to win? Because
the other thing is that the only way, the thing is I almost beat him but he had Numeron Wall in his hand, so I had a great field, and I was like, all right, and this guy has nothing, like he must, because like it was his turn, and then he put down nothing and ended turn, and I was like, all right, well, easy GG. And then I set up my field. I had like Rebellious, I had I can't think of his name. He's the one that you can search a card from your deck, or discard one, search one. And then I had Valiant, who you can special summon if you have 2 on the field.
Solid field.
Solid
hand.
So I was like, all right, I'm able to kill this guy this turn. So I start attacking into him, and then he activates Numeron Wall, which it has 0 attack and defense, but you play it and it ends the battle phase. And it's like as soon as you take battle damage, play this, end the battle phase. So I was like, oh, all right. And then ended my turn, and then sat there for like a good. I was watching Origami. I got like halfway through an episode. So I was sat there for like 10 minutes while he was setting up.
Bruh.
And then he finally got his number 86, cleared my field, did 3,000 damage. Because that was the other thing, is he basically just had number 86. So he attacked into me, ended his turn. I couldn't do anything, so end my turn. And then he attacks into me again, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is taking forever, dude. Just kill me. Like, summon something else out. Like, it was just so, like, oh my lord. But anyway.
Yeah, if they have a new ban list, it's gonna be pretty interesting, because you know, I would think they would hit 86. They'd probably hit the Drytron deck in some way. Maybe not like Herald of Ultimateness itself, but probably like some of the cards that help out that deck, like Ava, or like the Cyber Angel 1010.
Yeah, like they can
like
can
those cards that
so
get
easily.
you stuff. Those I can predict will probably get hit. If not, it's like, it's whatever, you know. The game seems like it's slowly dying, because well, I say it seems like it's slowing to dying because, like, you know, not a lot of content's been coming out. I mean, yes, we had like a new solo thing, and there's a new event that's supposed to be coming out where it's like a rare and normal festival, or whatever.
I saw that.
So yeah, they're slowly bringing out content, but also, like, the meta. We talk about meta. The meta hasn't changed. The only way for a meta to change is if you implement new ban lists and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, in this current format, right, nothing's really changed. No new cards have been added. No cards have been like banned or whatever since like the start of the game. So really, the meta hasn't really changed. So everyone's playing the exact same decks each season that they
that's the
feel
thing. It feels worse now in season 3. Cause I've been going through, and it's like, it's definitely annoying to get hand trapped. I personally think Ash Blossom and like Max C should be limited to 1, but I'm all like, that's just
Max
me.
C. I think Max C was like banned. Is banned in the TCG, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, we did that duel, and I just kept you Mayakashi and I Max C, and I couldn't even see my fucking cards anymore. It just
you
kept
had like
going.
what, 10, 20 cards in your deck or something? You were pretty close.
I have no idea. I just know because like I was like, okay, my hand's pretty solid, but then it just kept going, and there was a card I was gonna use that I couldn't use because it like kept slinking away, and it just vanished off my fucking screen.
Yeah, Max C is powerful. I mean, you know, most people would just stop at like one special summon, but with Mayakashi, what are you gonna do? Stop at your level 3?
Yeah.
No, of course you're gonna keep going.
I Max C'd Dragon Maid deck, and they went into Striker Dragon and then ended turn. So I was like, all right, time to get bodied, fool.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I like Yu-Gi-Oh, but I don't like those kinds of decks where they're just playing solitaire, you know?
Yeah, just like the really try hard people, like the ones that are. It's just like, I don't know. It's weird.
They play to win.
Like, yeah, it's like I get it, but I'm like, I don't know. Going through the tier list or whatever, like 8 times over using the exact same deck, and you're just like, the only thing is like, all right, I'm gonna set up, the other guy can't do anything. I'm like, that can't be fun. To me, it's like, it's fun when it's a good back and forth, and it's really close. Like, you're both like equal skill levels, or rather like not skill levels, but I guess decks. It's like where you can both like get off plays and that kind of thing. It's not just like, all right, I set up this one thing, that's GG.
That's why I think honestly the best kind of gameplay would probably be like in the lower tier. Yeah, they have really bad decks, but neither deck can stop the other from playing, you know?
Yeah, it's like everyone has just 700 hand traps, and it's just,
I mean, that's fine. It's part of the, you know, it's not like you can't go ahead, play them, you know what I mean? But also it's like, are you really playing a 2-player game, or you're just playing by yourself type of thing? It's like, all right, cool.
But
let's move on.
It's why I can't, it's really tough to just play Yu-Gi-Oh without watching something else on the side. I'm like, man, when I can get through almost an entire episode of anime in the time it takes you to set up, like, how is that even possible? Like, what? Because it's like
I
they'll set
time
something.
out.
It's like they set up their turn and then end. Okay, I can't do anything. I guess I'll set this one card, end my turn, and then they go again, and I'm like, holy fuck! It's like, oh sweet Jesus! Like I've had plenty of duels last like a solid 20 minutes of just going back and forth of me like being able to do like one play, if even.
On the flip side, I've had games that last 20 minutes where both of us do some ridiculous stuff, like I think I'm winning, and then they come back, and then they think they're winning, then I come back, and then I win, luckily.
I will say, it feels weird, because I don't necessarily mind the long setups, because I've done it before with Six Samurai is probably the one deck that takes the longest to set up. Assuming I start with Gateway of the Six, or I'm able to go into Battle Shogun of the Six Samurai. If I'm able to go into him, and then get Gateway of the Six that way, then yeah, I can set up. But I removed 86 and the other guy, and Six Samurai is still pretty solid. Like, it's still a solid deck. It's just not number 86 solid. Like, it's not like, hey, you can't summon, and I have Raigeki, basically.
You brought this up like a while ago, but you were like, I think you were looking at a Six Samurai deck that was posted on Master Duel Meta, and then you were like, yeah, it has a lot of Six Samurai stuff, but with looking at the extra deck, it's pretty much not Six Samurai because you're just building into some different monster.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I have.
Yeah, and then I had made a comment. I was like, yeah, there's there are a lot of decks out there like that where it's like, yes, you have the core of the deck being an archetype like Dark Magician or Blue Eyes White Dragon, but then they go into like some other thing. I mean, yeah, sure, it like makes sense. You're using an archetype to build into something else, but then your board just ends up being like not a single card on your board ends up being like a Blue Eyes monster or Blue Eyes card. It's like some other stuff, which is fine. They're using, I guess technically they're using Blue Eyes to win, kind of, but I want to finish off the game with Blue Eyes White Dragon, burst stream of destruction,
Yeah, my, like, with Six Samurai, like, a pretty typical setup that I do is I'll have, like, or, like, the best setup would be, like, two Shiens, like, Great Shogun Shien, like, maybe a couple of Kizans, Grandmaster.
That's, like, on a good day.
Yeah, like, Grandmaster, and then if I'm feeling crazy, maybe I'll go into Blackluster Soldier. But when I play Six Samurai, at least now, I set up and I usually do just enough damage that they have like 700 health left, and then I go into Cowboy and then I do 800 damage with his skill.
That's nuts.
So that I'm always like, sometimes I feel a little like, it's satisfying to kill someone in main phase 2, but I'm also like, I didn't even give him a chance to potentially come back from that.
No, don't give him a chance. You have lethal, you kill him.
But I don't know. I've also, for some reason, I've been misplaying a lot, but not even, or like like, so when they're setting up and I don't have any like quick effects or anything, I usually don't pay attention to the game, because I'm like, okay, there's nothing I can really do. So I'll be doing stuff on my second screen, and then I'll oh my, I just completely blanked. What the fuck? That was weird.
You good?
That was weird. What was I talking about? Yu-Gi-Oh. When they're setting up.
You're having something on the second screen?
I'm not even kidding. I completely blanked. I have no idea what the fuck I was gonna say next. Oh shit, that's weird.
Well, to backtrack, you mentioned. I'm gonna segue a little bit. It's a Blackluster Soldier. That reminded me of a season, or I guess an arc in the original Yu-Gi-Oh series, where they're playing like this, almost an RPG type of game. So the arc is basically like they have, I think Yugi acquires like this chest plate or something at one point, and then he can transform into, it's either transform or like summon different monsters. So like they'll have like a monster they can summon, and then some other monster that they acquire like throughout this game that they can equip as like armor. So there's like Blue Eyes White Dragon armor, Blackluster Soldier armor, and I was like, that's pretty cool. That's like some fan art stuff right there. Just like nice. turning Yu-Gi-Oh monsters into like just armor. I think that's the whole thing. That's called dual armor or whatever.
Dual armor.
Yeah.
That
so
that sounds pretty cool.
So that's pretty cool. Like the Yu-Gi-Oh season, like season 1, it's not really like just the card game. There's like the card game. They play dungeon dice monsters or whatever. So like they use Yu-Gi-Oh monsters, but then they have dice instead. Then they go into like the like deck master rules. So like they have like a deck master they can just summon anytime, but if the deck master dies, then you die. So that was another thing that they tried. And then they went like back to ancient Egypt times to when I guess the origin of Blue Eyes White Dragon, and like this girl that Seto Kaiba or like his ancestor had liked and took care of. And that's why the Blue Eyes White Dragon protects him, and that's why he likes Blue Eyes White Dragon so much, because his ancestor liked this girl who's turned into Blue Eyes White Dragon and kind of died for him. So that's cool. So the Yu-Gi-Oh nowadays it's not like that. It's all card games and such.
Yeah, I guess so. What the fuck? Wow, alright.
And that's why Yugi is considered king of games and not king of Yu-Gi-Oh, or I guess king of duel monsters, because technically in the show Yu-Gi-Oh is actually called Duel Monsters.
I guess that would make sense. Oh well. Alright, well, neat. I gotta watch, because Yu-Gi-Oh's on Crunchyroll. I got all the seasons and dubbed and everything. I just gotta watch them. So I'm gonna talk about this real quick, because I don't know how long this is gonna take, but we're an hour in, and I'm afraid I might end up talking about this for the next half hour. But Elden Ring came out a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, we didn't even get to talk about that.
And for those who don't know, I'm a huge FromSoft fan. All
you play are Souls games.
It feels like it. So recently, Souls games and Yu-Gi-Oh. And I love Souls likes and things like that. So Bloodborne's like one of my favorite games ever. I love Sekiro, which is like Dark Souls but in Japan. So I love all those games. So I was very excited for Elden Ring to come out, and it's released, and I've been playing it. I have not beaten it. I've only put like
86 hours.
30 hours into it.
It's close enough.
So, no, it's not. I put 30 hours into it so far. I went with the samurai class because obviously, why wouldn't I? No, but it's weird because I'm really enjoying the game. But I'm like some of the bosses is easily like the strongest the Soul series has ever had. But I've never felt more lost in a Souls game. Playing like Bloodborne and Dark Souls and stuff, there's definitely some like times in those games where it's like, okay, I don't know where the fuck I'm going. But I have that feeling with Elden Ring like every 20 minutes, because the map is like quadruple the size of every other game they've made. It's like fucking massive. There's so many bosses. Like you find a boss like every corner of the map, like everywhere you turn. It's like, oh, that thing's trying to kill me, which is cool. It's like, I don't like making these kind of comparisons, but it's like the best way to describe it. It really feels like they took Breath of the Wild and Dark Souls and merged them together, because it is very similar with Breath of the Wild. Because like Breath of the Wild, just like it puts you in the game and it just says have at her. Elden Ring is very similar. There's a bit more cutscenes. And like the opening cutscene for Elden Ring is probably my favorite opening cutscene to a FromSoft game. It's really cool. Having the horse is really awesome. And there's some like you can get like really OP in that game. Like with Bloodborne and stuff, I felt like my first playthrough that I was the most underpowered little shit ever. And like Dark Souls 3, I felt like by the time I played Dark Souls 3, I was like pretty decent at Souls games. But even that, I still felt like I was like, all right, I feel like I'm on par with all these guys. And that's the thing I like about that, is that with Elden Ring, every boss I've walked into, I either feel like I'm far too over leveled or I'm way too under leveled. Like there's a guy, it's like Star Scourge Radon or something that I'm at now. And I just found out you're supposed to be like level 80 for him, and I'm level 53. So I'm like,
Bruh.
but it's also like, I thought that's where I was supposed to go next. And I went to fight him, and his cutscene was pretty cool. It's like he was like some warrior or something, but he's been lost to the Scarlet Rot, and now he's like eating his friends and shit because he's like completely gone insane. So he, but like he's a giant burly like monster with 2 giant swords, and he rides this little itty bitty horse. Like it's a normal sized horse, but it's like super skinny, and it's like carrying him around somehow. But the fight opens up with you being like 7 miles from him, and he fires this like lightning or like this like purple glowing bullshit spear, and it does like your entire health bar, and then it knocks you, at least it does my entire health bar because I'm not supposed to be here yet, I don't think. But like it hits me, it knocks me down, and then by the time I get back, the next shot he's already fired is just about to hit me. So I get up just in time that my invincibility frames have worn off, and I just get hit by it. So I'm like, all right, great. I didn't even get close to him. But then when I do get close to him, which is like an impossible task, he can one-shot me with his blade. So I'm like, I am not supposed to be here right now. I do like almost no damage to him. He can one-shot me in a breeze. But then on the opposite spectrum of that, I picked up the Bloody Slash, which is a Ash of War. Like it's a thing you can just put on your sword. And I'm using a katana because I'm playing the samurai class. And in Bloodborne, one of my favorite weapons is the Shikage, which is a blood katana. And it's really cool because it's like a risk reward kind of thing, because you do damage to yourself, but then you do extra damage to other people. So like your health bar slowly ticks down, but you're doing extra damage, so it's like you can finish up a boss fight faster. So Elden Ring's similar, like with that, the Bloody Slash is similar to that, but basically when you two-hand and do the magic attack, it's like the animation is like him like slicing his hand and then doing this massive slash, and it does like 500 damage to like most enemies. So
what's 500 damage in terms of like percentage?
It depends on the boss, but like to that Radon guy, he has like 25,000 health, so it's not that much. But there was a
is 500 like a one shot or two shot?
To most normal enemies, that's like a 1 or 2 shot. And then there was this one boss that, it was funny because I saw people on Twitter talking about how difficult this boss was. So when I got to it, I was like, oh, I'm fucked. But I had the Bloody Slash, but I was like, all right, I'll give this the old college try. And then one Bloody Slash, and I had it down to like half health. And I was like, oh, all right. I guess I'm fine. But yeah, so overall, I've never had the same feeling of just being completely lost like I have in that. But you can also just fast travel immediately, which is a nice like handy feature. You can fast travel as long as there's an enemy attached to you, like trying to chase you down. It's weird because I'm saying that feeling of loss. I do slightly miss the feeling from Dark Souls, because Dark Souls, you can't fast travel until you get the Lord Vessel like halfway through the game. So up until then, when you go down some like dark, dingy cave, the only way you're getting out of there is by walking your ass back out. So
oh, no.
It's like you're not. So like in Blighttown, you can't just fast travel out. You're stuck in Blighttown until you climb out of the depths of hell. So it's like I do kind of miss that feeling of that, if it feeling like a true like challenge to escape this area, as opposed to just being like, all right, I'm gonna open my map button and like deuces, just teleport out. But yeah, there's some bosses that don't feel like bosses. And FromSoft has had this problem before where they'll just like take an enemy and like throw him in a boss room, give him a health bar, and it's like, ooh, scary. And it's like, all right. Like there's one boss in Volcano Manor that's 2 of like these really hard enemies stuck in a small ass cave, and it's like, it just feels like the game's saying, fuck you, have at her. Because it's like they're like these really tall metal like Iron Maiden looking things, but when the hatch opens, it's snakes, and if they grab you, you're dead instantly because they just like you can't escape it. But they're like lightning fast because they have this like saw attack that like tracks you down from the other side of the cave. And it's like so like one guy is really fast and the other guy has really long range. So it's like it feels like it's like because Ornstein and Smo in Dark Souls works as a dual boss because you have Ornstein who is like really quick and speedy, and then you have Smo who is like slower but like he's a lot stronger. So it's easier to break aggro and get to like just focus up on one of them because like you dodge Ornstein and then he like dashed to the other side of the room, so you can go run up and get some hits on Smo. There's also the like the pillars in the middle of the room. So like Ornstein and Smo is one of the best like designed boss in all of Dark Souls. But like Elden Ring has had some of the most like some of their early bosses are very fair but challenging. Well, maybe I say fair, maybe a little too challenging for some beginner players, because while I was able to get through like Godric and Margaret like fairly easily, like I beat Margaret on like my like I don't know, maybe my 9th try, which isn't that bad. Like it took me like 30 times to beat Father Gascoigne and Bloodborne the first time I played through that game. So it's like it wasn't too bad because it's like every Dark Souls boss is just like learning their moveset and then pressing B at the right time. So it's like you can break down every single boss in every game down to that. But excuse me. But still, so I'm like, I still think they're just a little too hard for beginner players. I see why a lot of people have like rage quit. The thing I really don't like though, is this has happened every time a FromSoft game is released, but there's always been the discussion of adding an easy mode to FromSoft games, and it is bleeding. There's always been a discussion to adding an easy mode to FromSoft games, and it's both the two sides of the argument are, if you add an easy mode, you're ruining the game because now there's no like it's like the whole core of the game, like dying is a feature. It's the core of the game is to get good basically. And then the other side of the argument is like, well, who cares? It's just options. You can either play it the way it's intended to and just stick with the normal mode, or you can play an easier mode and then have it be a bit more accessible. And then people's counter argument to that side is like, oh, well, not every game is accessible. Like, it's like every show isn't made for kids. And I'm like, I don't know about that one. But then the other thing is that it's like, there's been people that have beaten Dark Souls with like their nose, you know, like there's been people that have beaten the game under like what feels like impossible circumstances. So I'm kind of like, well, I don't know if you can now say it's inaccessible. But then there's also, it's like there is also in every game, because like the other argument to that is people being like, oh, well, they all have easy mode. You just got to pick the right build, which is like, yeah, because then the other argument to that is like, well, that's not just clicking an option and then I can play the game however I want to. It's like I have to go specifically seek out this weapon and then I'm stronger. Like in Elden Ring, magic is stupid overpowered. Like there's this thing called like the Azur's Comet that I haven't used because I'm doing a magic build. But it's basically you just fire like a giant space beam, and like that Rodon guy, I saw someone kill him in 3 seconds with that. So It's like people like when they enter the boss arena, activate their magic, and then boom, dead. So it's like there is technically an easy mode because you can kill these bosses in 2 seconds with magic, but it's also like you have to set all that up. It's not just at the start of the game, easy mode. All right, now I can use whatever. Because it is tough because it's like if you make an easy mode, really the way I feel an easy mode would work in Dark Souls is just the bosses have less health, do less damage, and like maybe you get more runes for killing monsters, that kind of thing, so you can level up easier. Mm-hmm. And it's like, personally, I think that would be fine. I think giving the game an easy mode as an option, I think is perfectly fine. Because I think having more options, there's nothing wrong with that. If it means more people can experience the game, then that's great. Because I love these games. So if it means that more people, because the other thing is, it's like, my hope would be someone plays through easy mode and they're like, oh, that was cool. And then maybe they play through it again on like normal mode or whatever, like the intended version is. So it's like I feel adding an easier mode wouldn't necessarily be a problem. I think all the gatekeeping people are stupid because it's like who gives a shit. It's not really affecting how you play the game. So it's like if you just want to play the game on normal, then just keep going. Because I'm like, if it's like it forces you to do easy mode, then yeah, I could see that being a problem because it's like, well, no, I want to play a challenging game. But I'm like, it just having an option at the start of the game, like, hey, do you want bosses to have less health? Ah, sure. It's like, I don't see anything wrong with that. So I'm like, I personally think those people need to just like get over it. It's like, who gives a crap? But I also think all the people like, I don't know, there's just so much discourse on Twitter. And I've been like, I really need to get off Twitter because recently it's just like I read through stuff and I'm like, oh my god, this is miserable. Like the Shield Hero thing I was telling you earlier about. All the comments on Crunchyroll, people being like, yeah, this show is great, and all the replies are people like actually talking about the show and like having a back and forth. I'm like, wow, this is like weirdly wholesome. Like everyone's like, yeah, this show is great, like, and it's like, yeah, this guy's my favorite character. I really like when he did this, and it's like, oh, this is nice. But then you go to Twitter and everyone's like, this show's the worst fucking thing. Anyone that likes this is a stupid idiot. And it's like, oh my god. And then there's just an argument that gets stirred up, and it's like, holy fuck. Just like, can't we all just get along? So I'm like, I don't know. There's this guy I follow on Twitter, and because I really like his art, but it's like I see random tweets pop up, and then like I saw one yesterday where he tweeted about like some character in Star Wars not looking the same, I guess, as he did in the show or something along those lines. Anyway, someone quote retweeted and being like, oh, leave it to, or a Star Wars fan wouldn't last 10 seconds in the Star Trek universe, like leave it to Star Wars fans to bitch about every little thing. And it was like, okay. And then he responded, he was like, well, good thing I'm not a Star Wars fan or a Star Trek fan, but also like it was just a valid complaint. And then this guy, it was like talking to a brick wall. I think he even said that because the guy was immediately just like, oh yeah, you're a fucking idiot for being a Star Wars fan. And it's like, oh my god. Like, holy shit, man. It's so exhausting. You look at like almost like fucking Viz Media tweeted out a thing. It was like a picture of Uraraka and Toga doing some pose, and then I can't remember what the caption was, but everyone in the comments was all these people being like being real horny. It was like, Jesus Christ.
Oh my gosh.
And all the replies were like, dude, she's 16. It's like, yeah, but she's not real. And I'm like, it's still a little weird.
But jail's real.
Yeah, it's like, this is still kind of strange. It's what's that meme? Age is just a number and jail's just a place. Like, yeah. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I'm so sick of Twitter now. There's just so much argument over like nothing. It's like someone says literally anything, and then someone will just take that, spin it, and then just run with it. And it's like, that's not even remotely what I was saying. It's just I saw it. Someone was like, you could tweet, I like waffles, and then someone will spin that into how like you hate pancakes so much. And it's like, huh? I literally just said I like waffles. And it's like, I didn't say anything else. Like,
waffles, pretty good. Waffles or pancakes?
I personally prefer pancakes, but
I also like pancakes. I like soft and fluffy pancakes. And yes, waffles can be soft and fluffy too. And yes, I know the argument that waffles can hold syrup better because of their square pockets.
I guess so.
But I like pancakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I prefer pancakes.
My childhood experience with both of those was like okay, like I heat up some pancakes in the morning and I just eat those. But then like with waffles, it's like, okay, I'll take these to go. But then they get really hard.
I will say
pancakes also get hard too.
Eggos, I'm okay with those. Those waffles are pretty good. Blueberry Eggos.
I think Eggos makes better waffles than pancakes.
Blueberry, I've never had Eggo pancakes, unless that's not what you're saying.
Do they have? I don't know.
But like Eggo waffles, you pop them shits in the toaster, and it's just like those are quick, easy breakfast.
Yeah,
I like those.
Toasted waffles obviously are better than toasted pancakes, right? Pancakes can only be served soft, warm. Yeah. Waffles, soft or warm, or hard, crunchy, they're both pretty good.
Yeah. So I'm just hungry now.
No, I have yet to have breakfast. I will, as soon as we end this podcast, I will be grabbing some grub, and then also sending you to the Shadow Realm once again.
I haven't eaten anything since last week. That's not true, but I had dinner last night at like 6 p.m. But I haven't eaten since then, so I'm a little hungry.
What do you consider to be the start and end of a week? Because
I consider Sunday. I consider Sunday the start of the week.
Because Sunday, yes, Sunday is like, first day, Saturday, last day, right? For school, it feels like Monday's the first day, and then Sunday's the last day. Because you have 5 days of school and 2 days of rest, right? Yeah. It works the same with me for work, too. It's like 5 days of work, like the weekday, and then the weekend's like really busy. Then you start back up again. So for me, Monday feels like the start of a week, and Sunday's the last day. But I think that's also just how I've been living.
I think the reason why I do that is because when I was working, Sunday was the cutoff, or Saturday was the cutoff for what we'd be paid. So if you're getting paid that Friday, the Saturday you worked is the cutoff. So if you worked Sunday now, you're getting paid next pay. So if I was so I would be working that Sunday, and I'm like, I'm not going to see this money for like 3 weeks. But I'd be working Saturday, and I'm like, ooh, baby, I'm seeing this on Friday. So that's
it's crazy how different people have like different perspectives on like stuff like that, because it's like, yes, like the start of the week, Monday, I have like up until Sunday to finish all my homework. And then there's you that's like, oh yes, like Saturday, it's the end of the week, I get my paycheck. That's pretty nifty.
Nowadays, every day feels the same. It is so fucking weird, because I'm like, it's so strange, because I'm like, oh, today's Friday. I'm like, I thought yesterday was Monday. But
that's how I know. That's how I felt like at the beginning of quarantine and stuff. I didn't go outside at all.
I go to sleep, wake up, and I'm like, it's just like, it's a new day. Couldn't fucking tell you what the day is, but it's a new day. So I'm like, I don't know.
It's Tuesday, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like I've completely lost all sense.
K is 1/16 British. K is my girlfriend, by the way. K. I've made K.
No, I know.
Every Tuesday. Tell me or send me a video saying it's Tuesday, isn't it? Every single Tuesday, because she's 1/16 British.
She sends you a video saying it's Tuesday, isn't it?
No, I make her send me one, because it's funny.
So you wake up Tuesday. Hey, I haven't seen the video yet. It's Tuesday, isn't it? Yes. It's like, yes, honey. Have you seen that meme?
I haven't told her to do it like for a while, but
what are you doing?
It was a good bit. It was a good bit.
I don't even know where I'm from. I guess I'm
from
Canadian.
Canada, aren't you?
I'm Canadian. I have a little bit of Norwegian in me. I got some French, obvi. That's all I know. I'd have to ask my mom.
You know what I saw on Instagram the other day? I thought about this because I remember you sent me something over Discord about translating Parmesan or something. And on Instagram, I saw this Instagram video of Parmesan. Was it? I think it was chicken Parmesan tacos. So they took like they made their taco shell. They put like they cut up some I think not fried chicken, but like the battered chicken. They cut it up, and then they put it into the taco, put some cheese on it, the tomato sauce too, and I was like, man, that looks really good. Because if there's one thing that I really like, it's Italian food, pasta, chicken parm.
I gotta be honest. I
like it. It's like it's like the favorite cuisine.
I gotta be honest. I think Italian food is all right.
Are you serious?
I personally, I don't love pizza that much.
Okay,
but also
fair.
my favorite pizza is pineapple on pizza.
Okay, you're weird. It's not my... Okay, I'm not gonna say pineapples on pizza is bad, right? I've definitely had it before, and it's
like Hawaiian
good.
pizza. It's all the Hawaiian pizza a Canadian thing.
But it's not my favorite.
Yeah,
okay.
Like, Hawaiian pizza is a Canadian thing, and I like Hawaiian pizza. But
I used to like the hamburger meat pizza. Just those are little hamburger bits.
Like meat
those
lovers.
Are good. Yeah, meat lovers.
I don't know. We have, because like my brother fucking loves pizza, so like
it's
we're probably
so good.
like we're probably having pizza tonight. Like he's coming home tonight, and we're probably having pizza tonight. And
I'm
honestly,
coming over.
That, well, you better get to driving because it's like a 26-hour drive. But yeah, so it's like we're having pizza for dinner. I assume, I could be wrong, but he usually gets pizza when he gets home. So, but I'm like, pasta, I don't mind that much. But I'm like, I think the problem was that there was a time where we had like spaghetti and pizza like every day for like 2 weeks.
That's a problem.
Like,
yeah.
like swap between those two, and I was just kind of like, eh. So like spaghetti, I got a little sick of, but I'll still eat it. But yeah, so it's like, I don't know what my favorite food is. Like, I used to say my favorite food was potatoes, because I'm like, there's so much you can do with that. So someone was like, so your favorite food is just a raw, it's just a potato. I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know if I have, because like I love poutine, because again, I'm Canadian. So I'm like, or if you're from Quebec, poutine.
Poutine.
But I like or Putin. I've heard it said that way before.
Oh no.
So I'm like, I like potatoes, good old mashed potatoes. Like shepherd's pie is really great. I know that has other stuff besides potatoes, but
potato gratin.
I love what?
Do you know what potato gratin is? It's like it's like layers of potato, and then they put like I think it's either cheese or some sort of sauce in there. It's like a layered potato thing.
Well, that sounds amazing. But I haven't had that. Shepherd's pie is like definitely like a go-to. Like I really like that, but it's usually like really heavy. So I don't know. I just like, there's foods that I go to often. Like I love, like, it's like, there's like food that it's like, no matter when it's offered, I'll probably have some, like tacos, nachos, shepherd's pie.
Yeah, the only time I ever say no to food is if like if I'm at work and I'm doing something. Sometimes my boss will be like, "Hey, Davis, you want to have some dumplings?" And I'm like, "No, thanks." Because I'm cutting some fruit or something. I'll come get some after. He's like, "Oh, you don't have to be so shy." And I'm like, "I'm literally working. I'm at work. I'm doing my job."
Someone's like, "Yeah, can I get the number 6? Hey, do you want some dumplings? I'm busy." Don't be so shy.
Yeah.
No, I also this is more of a recent thing over the last like year. Oh my god, over the last like year, because I've always liked rice, but recently I've like loved rice. Like I have like
white rice.
Like
the steamed rice,
white rice, any rice I can get my grubby little hands on. I've had ramen a couple times. That's pretty good. So I'm just making myself hungrier. I don't really have a favorite food. I've realized that's another thing. I don't know about you. As I've gotten older, though, because I'm such an old wise man now. No, but as I've gotten older, I don't really have like favorites anymore. Like, I used to have a favorite color. I was always like, no, red's my favorite color. But then it was blue. Then it was green. And now I'm just like, I don't fucking know. I just like color. I don't have a favorite food. I just like food. There's definitely things that I like a lot. And it's like, I'll drop everything to eat.
You have a favorite show.
I have a favorite anime, yes. But that anime may be dethroned soon. Because, my God, it's making me angry. I think I gotta... Sorry.
Oh, man.
You're making me think of it. I think I gotta rewatch My Hero Academia again. Because I'm like, recently, every time I think about My Hero Academia, I'm just like, like I'm like, I get so mad.
It's like a bad relation. It's like a relationship with your wife.
I know.
And
I'm
you're
just
like, man, I hate her so much, but I gotta remember when I fell in love with her.
I'm just like, it's like, I'm just like, oh, it used to be so good, and they were going places. You were going places. You were meant to be beautiful, and they just like, So I'm like, oh man, it makes me so disappointed. But I think the other thing I thought about this yesterday was because I was rereading the recent chapters, and I was like, yeah, no, this is straight trash. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I'm just like, it's like, because the thing is there's been some cool panels and stuff and some cool looking things, but that doesn't detest from the fact that the story is stupid right now. But I'm like, I've bought, you can see them here, I've bought My Hero Academia action figures and stuff, and I have a manga volume 27, I think it is. So it's like, I've bought My Hero Academia merch, and now as soon as I've done all that, now My Hero Academia is starting to get not so great. So I'm like, and I'm just like, man, I'm losing faith in the series, and it makes me sad because I'm like, I've talked about it every episode, and it's like, but that's another thing why I was like Soul Eater, like Shield Hero, I love those shows. Like those two shows so far have come the closest to being a 10 out of 10 for me. So I'm like, if Soul Eater gets a proper remake, that'll probably be a 10 out of 10. And if Shield Hero keeps going with the quality it's at right now, it's going to be a 10 out of 10 for me. So I'm like, you know, I think that has just been the problem recently, though, is that I'm watching really, really good shows, and My Hero Academia, at least for me personally with the manga, just keeps getting worse and worse. I think if season 6 was airing right now, I would be like, the manga is not so great, but at least the episode every week is a banger. So I'm like, I don't know, we'll see. I think I just need to rewatch the show, though, and remember why, because I was rewatching clips. Like I was rewatching like the Lemillion versus Overhaul clip, and I was like, man, I forgot how cool this shit was. But anyway, so
all right, well,
sorry, that was quite the tangent.
no, you're fine. We went on a food tangent for a little bit, but I think this is a pretty good stopping point for the episode. I am starving now, thanks to
my ribs, not my. Never mind. Anyway. So,
starving now thanks to a certain somebody.
I know, I'm hungry too, man. I'm gonna start.
Gonna grab some
fucking arm off
grub.
In a second here. I don't know. I
Big
can feel
meaty
myself.
claws.
I don't know about you. I guess you probably don't have this issue, but whenever I'm really hungry, I feel like I weigh nothing. Because when I'm really hungry, I can suck in my stomach. And I'm like, wow, I'm so skinny. But it's like, I look no different.
I can do that if I'm wearing a hoodie, so you can't see it, but I do that.
Well, anyway.
When I get really hungry, I feel like I can eat 2 cows, but then I end up eating like a foot of a pig.
Sorry, you've reminded me of this. I gotta talk about this now. It's super quick. I promise. I'll end this episode soon. I'll end this episode soon. So, when I was working at Canadian Tire, there was a Burger King up the street. So I would go to Burger King for lunch almost every day that I worked. And when I worked, I think, granted, I was a little bit younger, and I was constantly moving around. So I would go there and I would order like a Roadhouse King and like a Whopper and some fries. And so that's 2 burgers, 3 whole patties, and some fries, and I inhale all of that. And then I'd be like, oh, okay. I'm like, all right, I feel pretty full. And then I'll go to Canadian Tire, and by the end of the day, I'm hungry again. I had a Roadhouse King the other day, and Roadhouse Kings are really good. But the other day, I had one last night. And it's like, they're really good, but they're so heavy now. I'm like, I ate that, and I was like, holy shit, I don't know how I used to eat all of this, and then another burger after. Because I'm like, holy fuck, I feel like I'm gonna pass out. Like I was like sitting here eating it, and I was watching anime, and I had to put it down, and I was like, and I stood up and everything, like I moved my desk up, and I was like, all right, this is more burger than I remember it being. Like, holy cow. But
oh, man.
I also had like we had a buttery pear brie melt for lunch from HelloFresh. It was actually, I know it sounds gross, but it was actually pretty good. It's like a piece of bread, some butter, some onions, some cut up pears, brie cheese, fig spread, bread. Enjoy.
The pear is kind of weird, but
I know a lot of like my
it's
sister,
like apples and it's like strawberries and cheese, or is it chocolate?
I think it's chocolate. Why are you putting
Oh.
strawberries with cheese?
I don't know.
Wait a second.
That sounds pretty good though.
It was, and I hope there's food upstairs because otherwise I'm gonna pass out and die. But anyway, thanks everyone for hanging out today as a part of the Shūmatsu podcast. I think that's the first time I've ever said that. But I just had to remind myself of the name. But I think I talked about. Oh, I didn't talk about Hearthstone or My Dress Up Darling, but that's fine.
Oh yeah, Hearthstone.
There will be more episodes in the future. So
We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Bye.